Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel. So sorry that I haven't posted in a while. The quick breakdown is that I've been juggling multiple jobs, juggling 3 jobs essentially almost 7 days a week now, so I just haven't had time to film a lot of what I wanted. And for this video, I should say this is probably going to be a part 1. So earlier in the summer, I had made plans to go on a trip because I'd saved up money. It's like, hey, I want to go do some landscape photography somewhere else other than Southeast Texas where it's flat lands and nothing really landscape-ish to photograph. So originally I did want to go up to South Dakota, Mount Rushmore, Devil's Tower, and then I find out, the airline I wanted to take doesn't go there. So I'm like, okay, where else can I go? And I thought, wait a minute. I've always talked about wanting to go to the Pacific Northwest. So for one reason or another, friends had to drop out. And so I'm already left with thinking, well, I've already got the hotel, the car, still need to get a plane ticket. And I started getting a little nervous. And then I thought, you know what? I haven't done this ever solo, so
I'm going on an adventure!
So I went ahead, bought a plane ticket, and flew myself to Portland, Oregon. Let's go to our man in the field who has already landed in Oregon from a beautiful sunrise on the plains, who I may have been the only one who wanted to have a window open, and I don't care. I finally got to see the Grand Canyon from thousands and thousands of feet up, which that wasn't a great picture with my cell phone, but here we are, anyway, getting off the plane, and now over to you. All right, the Eagle has landed. Here we are in Portland, Oregon, and had to stop at a Target, get a couple of essentials, water, Gatorade, jerky, because it's gonna be a drive to get to the coast, but may stop at one tiny little waterfall near, I don't know, somewhere along, is it 30? I think I have to go through Washington first, but here we are. We're just going to Astoria first. So welcome aboard. And I've made a huge itinerary, and I'm already going to tell you right now, I could not keep up with everything I had planned to see. I have done so much driving, but some of this first video is going to be, just me sharing things that are for me. Like right after I got off the plane, I find out that, a heat wave had come through right before I got there. And so there's haze, there's no clouds right after I got in my car and started driving through. So there are photos that are just not perfect, but I don't really think in hindsight that they have to be. This was just, it's an experience more than anything. And I would say that to anybody doing, traveling somewhere doing landscape photography, don't just focus on that. You need to enjoy yourself wherever you are. That's the important thing. So got off the plane, drove up north and then west through a bit of Washington. I thought it was pretty cool to see all the freeway signs, I think it is, in that state. I guess in every state, they're modeled after something iconic or a famous person, in this case, George Washington, which I just thought that was pretty cool. So I get back over to Oregon, and my first stop is the Nat Creek Fish Hatchery. And it was just so nice. I'm not used to little trails and the specific trees that are there and natural waterfalls like this because we don't have that here. So it wasn't much. I guess it hadn't rained in a little while. Here's our man in the field covering that. Don't know how well I'm coming through here, but tiny little waterfall right here at the Nat Creek Fish Hatchery, our first stop. And it's a bit slippery, but you can see the rest of this. I got the aperture at f2.8, so it's pretty shallow right now. But yeah, this is a great first stop, and not only that, but look at the trees. This is Man, I love the Pacific Northwest already. So, yeah. But to be very honest with you, that's really all I wanted. So focus on. Yeah, that's really all I stopped by here for before going on to Astoria. But this is a pretty cute little waterfall too. I like it. I'm easily fascinated by everything up here. I mean, the plane ride, ooh, I think I've still got a bit of a headache from all that ascending and descending. Got everything I need for this trip. I brought the 24 to 70 Tamron, which I'm using right now. I may use that for a lot of this, and my trusty 70 to 200. Ooh, I'm in a little spider. Go on. Shoo shoo. Hope I don't get caught in spider webs, but oh my god. All this moss. Everything. This is, I recognize that from a lot of what Adam Gibbs photographs. I'm a big fan of his channel. You know, he lives up in the Pacific Northwest. Also, you know, Nick Page, another YouTuber I follow a lot. I shouldn't say YouTuber, I mean they're professional landscape photographers. But very inspiring. I just can't get enough of this. But also, I think when I get to Astoria, before doing all the Goonies touristy pilgrimage stuff, I need to get something to eat. Because I am hungry, I am slightly hypoglycemic, and I don't want to get cranky for anybody. So, yeah, this was a nice first stop, and on to the next one for the first day. This is going to be a maybe a 3-parter series. Yeah, I think so. 1 part for each day up in Oregon. And already, nice, got 1 waterfall. I hope the other waterfalls I got permits to go see. Hope I can make all of them, but if I can't, then I'll just have to choose probably Fairy Falls. That looked a little more my style than the Bridal Veil. That's what I meant to say. For this trip, I decided to pack very minimalistic. 2 little carry-ons, like 1 change of clothes, maybe 2, because I'm only up here for the weekend. Why not? And already I was like, oh yes, I need to come back and stay a bit longer or go other places. But it is. Actually, let me come back through here. This is a good spot to vlog. Yeah, mostly just camera equipment brought up here to photograph, see what I can do, and if something good comes of it, maybe I'll try to sell prints or a calendar. I don't know. But you know, I know there's some vloggers, YouTubers saying, you know, take your time, explore areas. Yeah, I get that. But for only being up here for 1 weekend, and I know there's so many good shots you can get with only, you know, sunrise or sunset. But if it has to be post-processed that way, then it does, because I am feeling very ambitious. Some people may say it's a bad thing. It's like, at the moment, I don't really care, because at the end, I'm photographing things that make me happy already. That 1 waterfall, it's like, we don't get this back home. This is part of why I came up here, just for the photos, and also really just for me. So that's where it is. So anyway, on to the next stop. So after I got out of the Nat Creek Fish Hatchery, drove further west until I got to Astoria. And oh my God, it is beautiful. It's layered going up the hillside, mountainside, all the houses and businesses, the huge iconic bridge you see in classic 80s films like The Goonies, Short Circuit. Okay, mostly Short Circuit. I guess, Kindergarten Cop also there. So many things were filmed in Oregon, especially Astoria. But I think the stop in Astoria was more just for me, just gotta satisfy the childhood nostalgia. So I'm filming all the little iconic scenes like the county jail from the Goonies, the Jeep, and the props that, half of them are probably replicas. I don't care. It's just nice. And the Flavel house right across the street, especially just being history buffs, which it was actually a lot like going to the Moody Mansion down in Galveston. It's a very similar style, both up there and down here. Yep, walking up to Mikey's house from the Goonies. I guess they've opened it back up, let people walk back up again. So it's great. Nostalgia at its finest. And what's even better, right across the street, bees, bumblebees. Get a look at these guys. So cute. Didn't I ever tell you about bumbos? I remember my great-grandfather used to pet bumblebees. They didn't mind. So that's kind of where I learned not to be afraid of most bees. They're not out to get you. They're kind of friendly. They're just curious. So I think I had one on me. You freeloader? Oh, come to Texas. We need more bees everywhere else. It was short but sweet. Respect people's private property. The sign says don't go up, then you don't go up. Just know at the end of the day, it's just a house. So after that was done, I went ahead, drove back down to Cannon Beach, where I had booked to stay. And right before I got out the exit, I see the top of what looks like a giant rock. I'm like, is that what I think it is? Oh yeah. So get down there, check into the lodge, drop my stuff off, check out the room. Interesting to see that in the northern states, there really isn't AC, just heaters. So it's like, okay, bit of different, because down here in Texas, it is hot, humid, and miserable 10 months out of the year. After I did all that, ate a bit of food. Oh my God, the clam chowder on the Oregon coast is just to die for. So then I headed back up, across the bridge, back into Washington, and I thought, let me go to Cape Disappointment because it's close enough. It gives me hopefully enough time, even though the sun was starting to go down. I didn't know that the light still lingers after the sun goes down. I found this out and I was glad for it. So I go up into Washington, just around to Cape Disappointment, get, see one lighthouse at the northern head, I think it was. And then I'm hurrying, trying to find the path to get down to the second lighthouse at the southern end. So I'm starting to get a little nervous that I'm not going to have enough light to shoot what I want. And I'm trying to find the right trail, the right path. I looked it up on Google Maps before, but then it's like, okay, this one goes here, this one goes there. I can't remember which one I'm supposed to take. So it's like, okay, just push through. My legs hurting going up and down. And finally, I came upon Dead Man's Cove, and it is nicely hidden, just in between things. And so I had to get a picture of that. I edited the hell out of it just to get it right. And in hindsight, I probably should have turned the camera around and gotten a shot of everything that was on the little shore, because it was like pieces of wood that looked like big bones made into tiny little huts or little shelters, like a lean-to or something. I'm like, this is kind of cool, but at the same time, it looks like there's squatters around. I don't know. Maybe not. It was interesting to see. So I hurry back up the pathway, trying not to fall down and die, which, you could seriously injure yourself if you fall down those steps. In one direction, clearing, I see I think it was the Coast Guard there. There's a little station. I think it was for the Coast Guard. And I look up and I see two bald eagles flying around and just arguing with each other. And I figured, okay, my first two bald eagles I get to see out in the wild. I think it's a married couple. They're about to head out and look for food in opposite directions. So that's cool. So I see it, but I'm like, this is not the spot where I thought I was supposed to be. So start panicking. My anxiety's up. I'm getting hungry again. Just all of a sudden, I don't want to be here, it feels like. So I turn around, run back up, get in my car, pull up maps again, because the cell service around the coast area is extremely iffy. I would highly recommend anybody download the offline maps and pathways that it would take you to. And I get back and I finally see the proper trail, the proper road to get back to. I believe it was Cape D Road. I think it is right by, was it Fort Canby? I don't think it was Fort Cambria. I don't think it was the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center either, but there was the proper road to get back to see the Cape Disappointment Lighthouse from the other shore. And so I finally get out and I start to feel a whole lot better. And let me cut back over to the man in the field to show you what I mean. Okay, so I was waiting for a nice family to leave because I don't want to. Feels weird doing this in front of other people. Well, I think it was two grandparents and their grandson. Seemed nice. The grandmother was doing some photography as well. But this has been a day. I don't think I've filmed enough for the first day. I've got more batteries. I've got tons of memory cards. I need to be taking more photos, but I don't want to keep taking the same shot over and over and over again, because it's not going to do anything at the same exposure and all that. But I made it to Cape Disappointment State Park in Washington. Drove over the bridge again after I ate some dinner. Feel better. I was actually starting to feel a bit down, to be honest. But the sun's about to go down behind some bushes, which is not good for my face, but whatever. I don't know if it was a tiny bit of homesickness. I'm like, I want to get away from home, but I figured it's just fatigue from the flight. But maybe I was just expecting some culture shock when I got up here, and there really isn't. The only difference is huge trees that we do not have in Texas. It's so many firs combined with the cool weather. It's like, yes, I'm actually standing right under I don't know what kind it is, to be honest, but it's definitely Christmas tree worthy, and that makes me happy. So yeah, it's nice elderly couples taking their evening walk around here too. So yeah, I started feeling down, but then I ran back up. I think I gave my legs a good, very good workout, realizing that the proper spot is along the Jetty Road. And some photographers don't like to reveal locations, and I can understand that, because you don't want everybody and their brother coming to shoot the same thing you shot. But then again, I don't know, maybe I'm finding myself to be one of those people. It's like, I want to shoot the same thing to hone the craft and get better for myself. I'm like, okay, I've seen somebody else do it. I want to know, can I do it as well? And this is, like I said before, this whole trip is a challenge. Whether or not I'm taking my time or rushing to get a shot, I'm trying to test my abilities to be able to do so, if need be. But at the same time, just trying to test my abilities to shoot landscape, because I keep talking about going to the Pacific Northwest. I keep talking about shooting real, true landscapes, and here we are. It doesn't get more landscapey than this. So, yes, I'm aware a boat has come into the shot, but that's easy enough to get rid of. Almost everything's easy enough to get rid of in either Photoshop or Luminar now. And I know the waves are not crashing very big. That's okay, because, this is memories right here. That's really what matters. Making memories. The cost of living and eating here is still way too much, but my God, I want to come back. Need to pinch my pennies again. So I'm gonna see how low I can let the light go. So I think everyone has to get out of the park by dusk. So maybe not too much longer. Take a couple more shots because another couple just pulled up in a big Dodge truck, so I can never have any peace. But yeah, this is good stuff right here. Pardon me while I get emotional. Yeah, standing out of the way, but I did go ahead and switch to the 70 to 200 millimeter, just because that kind of makes sense. And looking at the composition, this is where I actually have time to pay attention to the composition. Pretty much just to get the lighthouse and the rocks. I don't want so much of this foreground because I already did that. But the lighthouse is the primary focus, and so is the cliff face. So the light's a lot better, but I mean, also it's summer, and this is kind of during a heat wave, even though it's down in the 60s right here. But yeah, because it's just completely blue skies, which I don't care. I'm probably going to do some sky replacing. Anyone who says that it's cheating can kiss my ass, because I'm not going to be staying here all that long. So I got to do what I can and then fix it in post. I don't know, maybe the boat may add a little something. But for now, yeah, I'll probably just turn this vertically. So that was the end of the first day, and I think it turned out better than I started to worry, because I could make overthinking an Olympic sport. But driving through Oregon and to Washington to Oregon again, seeing the logging companies doing their thing, I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And then finding out that, cut a tree down, you plant another tree. I'm like, that's all right. I wish we had that here. Seeing a waterfall, seeing wildlife that I don't get back down in Texas, and seeing the lighthouse, that I can make things like this work to how I envisioned it. I didn't add waves to it or anything, but I did want to adjust the colors and saturation because it's sunset and a lot of bird crap on the rocks, which that just adds character to me. I don't care if it's like, ew. So there is all that for this week. Next week, in the next video, there's gonna be a whole lot of driving. I clocked in so many miles just over 2.5 days. See the Air Museum, take a drive way down to Thor's Well, nearly killed my camera there. There's a whole lot that I was trying to cover in that day, so stay tuned for that. And If you enjoyed this video, if you liked the photos that I tried to get, the best I could out of, please consider hitting the little like button. If you want to see more videos like this on the channel, consider hitting the subscribe button too. So that's all I can think of for now. Y'all be excellent, and I will see you in the next one. Good God, the amount of driving. I'm so glad I had my iPod.